listening to good old gospel music on WSGI AM 1100 Springfield.
Hallelujah, thine the
One street over there's a life I could have known, one beyond my wildest dreams. Maybe that road could have carried me to streets of gold. Things aren't always as they seem. Looking back on all the chances that I missed, some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist, I wondered what would change, I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. Time gone by, I've traded like dirt into clay. I thought my memories would end. One train over's now 1,000 miles away. When I close my eyes, I'm back to where I've been. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today.
Good morning. Let's get on into it. You guys, this is 1100 WSG. I'm LaVern, and this is One Street Over. What's going on One Street Over from where you live? And you know Bill Jones had to get in on this before all this storm is over. I'm telling you, so thankful that you wanted to join us today, Bill.
I took my shorts on yesterday.
Yeah.
It got a little warm.
Well,
up to 33 or
I'm
something
telling
like
you,
that.
I know it was like a heat wave came through.
Yeah.
I called Bill. I said, Bill, I said, even though you live closer to the studio than I do, and I live maybe 2 miles away, I said, we can just call you. You don't have to come in here. And he's like, nope, I'll get there. So we appreciate you, Betty, very much. He actually got here before me. Of course, that's no big surprise. But anyway.
I can almost walk here, but I won't do that.
Well, see, that's just it. I mean, it is treacherous out there, guys. I mean, do not let the fact that Bill and I are out make you think, oh, they're out, we can do this. We have four-wheel drive vehicles. You got four-wheel drive or an all-wheel?
Yeah, all-wheel.
All-wheel drive, right.
All and both.
And we have four-wheel drive, and it's still very treacherous. And then when you get somewhere and you have to walk across a parking lot, if the parking lot's not been cleared, it's even equally treacherous. And so just do not get out in this mess if you don't have to. I know there's so many that have to, and we're praying over y'all. Some people are just seeing such devastation with their homes. And I've got a dear friend of mine that has had to stay in a hotel for, they've been there since Sunday. I think she told me they went over to a hotel because they were up on the ridge. And they're NES customers, and so that means there's a lot of people ahead of them when it comes to who they're going to, get the power lines up for first. It's like $200 a night, so expensive. So I mean, just so much going on, so many people that are having to endure some things that I'm thankful that it missed my house, but I'm sure I'm praying for all those who are having to endure it. We're going to check in with City Mayor of White House, John Corbitt. He has, we were unable to get in touch with him yesterday until right at the very end of the show. So that's the first thing we're going to do before we get into it with Bill. So let's give Mr. Corbitt a call here and let's see if we can't get an update from him from the city of White House.
Mr. John.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, how are you doing?
Good, LaVern. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you so much. And we appreciate you getting on the line with us. I've been talking here with Bill Jones. He cannot hear you, but he's in here. And he was saying, because we don't have an extra set of headphones, but he had said something about how that you guys really got hit much worse than we did right in this area. And when I see power outages for Sumner or for Cumberland Electric, we've only got 370 still here in Robertson County, but then you cross over into Sumner and you've got 6,800 still. And so that just kind of, that's the proof in the pudding right there, that you guys got hit a little harder.
We did. But I'll tell you what, the last couple of days, Cumberland has made a ton of progress getting some of the bigger subdivisions back online. And I think right now we don't have a whole lot left in White House proper. But so a lot of that 6,800 is probably north and east of us in White House. But still got a little bit of work to do. But they're working their tails off. They're out there around the clock trying to get people back.
So how are your major roadways? Have y'all got those cleared?
I was out last night, and yeah, I did. Sage Road, 76, 31W, Pleasant Grove, all looked fine.
Okay.
Clear.
So, but it's just the same situation I'm sure we're seeing here. Those side streets, there's just not a lot you can do with them right now because they're just caked ice.
Yeah, we'll have to wait till it melts a little bit. Hopefully some sun the next couple of days will help, and a little bit warmer temperatures, and then should be good to go.
I got to tell you, what forecast are you looking at? Because I'm sure not seeing that.
I'm hoping.
Oh, hun, I'm telling you. I mean, Bill and I were talking. We actually got into the 30s yesterday. I think we got some sunshine, and I kept expecting the tree ice I had talked to Bill earlier and said that I thought that the trees would start losing that ice coating. They did not. And so I don't know what's going to take to start getting some of the ice off of these trees, because if the wind picks up and hits those trees, because I mean, I'm looking at the forecast, not to be, we'll talk to the weatherman here in just a minute, but next week we've got 30s a couple of days, but we've got a threat of more snow coming in. So I know it, man. Welcome to winter. Spring's a coming though,
Yeah, I've got a ton of mature trees in our subdivision, and a lot of down limbs, and the wind is what scares me. Is this ice doesn't go away? Yeah,
for sure. Well, anything as far as anything you want to say to your folks? This is just a quick phone call. I don't want to keep you too long because I know you're busy. But what would you say to the folks in White House that they need to know about the situation as it sits today?
I would encourage people if there's any issues we've got a great city app, and our staff is phenomenal about responding. So if there's issues that need to be taken care of that aren't 100% an emergency, please report it on the city app, and somebody from the city will respond as quickly as they can. 2, I would remind people that we still have a warming center. We closed the one at City Hall because there just wasn't a whole lot of use on that one, but First United Methodist Church in White House is, as far as I know, still open as a warming center. There's been different businesses in town that have brought food, coffee, that sort of thing to the warming centers to help folks, but that's still open. So if people out there were still without power and need somewhere warm to stay, that is still open. I think we were one of the first in the area to open up a warming center. The church was first, and then we promptly opened City Hall to try to accommodate folks. So proud of that. And then our crews have just done, all of our first responders, public works have just done a phenomenal job out there trying to keep things clear and respond to emergencies, and I'm real proud of them.
Well, and I think that's to all the first responders.
Yeah.
They have been just out and doing some phenomenal work. And that's one thing, too. We have seen so many local restaurants that have picked up and have helped with all the different, the folks that are out there trying to take care of us and feeding them and keeping them, giving them hot coffee and things like that. So we see every time something like this happens, we just see what kind of community we live in, and it's pretty special.
Well, and it's not just our community too, and they are great, but just the response from the linemen from other states that have come in to help,
right.
It's just mind-blowing. It's amazing.
Right.
Love to see it.
And that is one thing I have seen quite a bit of, that we've seen some out-of-state trucks in, and that's been phenomenal to watch as well. Because, I mean, if you get into Nashville, as much as we've got going on up here, wow, you get down into the Nashville area and the power outages that are still there, and then further, it is a hot mess. Just a little bit
Yeah,
further
I
south
agree.
of us. So, I mean, we have had a mess to clean up, but we have definitely been pretty fortunate. So, but
Yep,
well,
I agree.
anything else that you have for us before we let you go?
I don't think so. I think that's it. Just everybody be safe, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully we get some warmer weather.
I hear you. All right. We'll be praying for the same. And we'll be checking in with you as we go along to see how things are going. And, of course, we always got to get an update from you guys once a month after your mayor and alderman meeting.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Did you have your mayor and alderman meeting last week?
Yes.
So you got that. Okay. Because I have, you know, I normally check in with you White House folks next Tuesday. So we'll see how that goes. I'll check with Mandy and we'll make the rounds and we'll see if we can get y'all in here just to talk about normal business, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
No more ice business.
There you go. That sounds good, Mayor. Thank you, sir. God bless you.
All right. Anytime.
Thank
All right,
you. Thank
too.
you.
Bye.
That was City Mayor John Corbitt with White House, and that was the one if you missed the show yesterday, we talked to a bunch of community leaders. I had Ryan Martin on. We talked with Dr. Weeks from the schools. Had a good conversation with him, and you know, talking about just the whole, you know, what are we going to do about our snow days and all those kinds of things, and had that conversation. We talked with our Director of Emergency Management, Blake Pierce. Let's see, who else did we talk? I guess that was it. And then we had planned on talking with Mayor Corbitt, but we kind of made the rounds to see what's going on. And I guess the thing is, Bill, we found out we're pretty, I'll be honest with you, we dodged a bullet when it comes to the ice level.
We have in a lot of storms lately.
Yeah. But,
You've seen, we're calling it the dome over Robinson County.
yeah.
Several, all through summer and everything, this hurricane, tornadoes would come and they'd go around us, so bad
Yeah.
weather, north and south. And then we started kidding around saying, well, we must have a dome over us. But there is a weather answer to that. But
Yeah.
anyway, we have been really blessed compared to everybody else.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I know some people have been meeting and praying over this county once a month. There might be something to that too. You know, prayer does a lot of things, guys. And anyway, but I just I don't know. I just hate it for when I look south and see some of the things, and I just pray that they can get back together, you know, and get their power back on, because we are so crippled by power loss. It is incredible. And you had said one of the churches in Nashville was giving away generators.
Yeah, they were on the news yesterday.
Yeah.
They were giving away food, of course, and also generators, and
Wow.
probably some other
God
things too
bless
I didn't
them.
know about. But that's really something to give
You better
somebody a
believe
brand
it.
new generator.
Yeah, that's great.
Showed them loading them in their trucks. You know,
That's incredible. Because, I mean, some of these folks, there's a lot of folks that are without power in the city that don't have a clue how to function
Right.
without, you know, something going on. And that's one thing, too. I hope they told them not to set those things up in their apartments and turn them on, that they have to be outside, because you'll get asphyxiated from them, you know.
I just wonder when they're talking about how bad certain storms were back in the years or whatever, do they measure it by the amount of snow, amount of ice? Do they measure it about how people were affected? Because way back in, say, 51, which is the biggest storm I have in my lifetime, there weren't that many people here. So
Right.
there weren't that many affected. So now when something comes up, you got a lot more densely housed place that a tornado could tear up, where before it wouldn't be anything but a field. So
Well, yeah.
you sort of have to look at that stuff of how they're measuring their results of what they're talking about.
What is the storm of 55? I'm
51.
51. What happened? What happened
Well,
with that?
it was worse here than Nashville, but as far as I'm concerned, nothing has ever compared to that storm.
Okay, what?
It was in January, about this time, and it started out in the morning with rain, and the rain turned to ice, sleet, and then ice. It built up 3 inches on the streets in Springfield.
Wow.
Then 10 inches of snow on top of that.
Whoa.
So that's
That's insane.
It
10 inches
then
of
got
snow on
real-
top of 3. Wow.
just like now. It got real cold. And what happened, there was a railroad strike
Uh-huh.
of certain workers. So they weren't there. And the railroad, in Springfield, we got a lot of our supplies on railroad cars out of Nashville.
Right.
And the railroad cars were stopped, and they were loaded with coal, and that's what people mostly used around here in the city. And it got so cold, not COAL, COLD, that the railroad cars, they couldn't unload them. They couldn't open the chutes in the bottom of the car to let the coal out. So they had to build fires underneath the cars in order for the mechanisms to work on the cars to open up to let the coal drop down. And then trucks carrying propane couldn't get up the ridge, because the ridge then was just a little old two-lane road. And I don't think they changed that to what it is now back, it seemed like 1980s. But they couldn't get up the ridge. People were without electricity for weeks.
Yeah.
I think some went 3 weeks without any power out in the country. Of course, people on electricity out in the country, they're out, didn't have any heat because they didn't have any power. And then people in town were out of gas, they had gas because they couldn't get it up the ridge. So it was disastrous. And some of the buildings began to collapse, the roof, because in some of the schools they had 4.5 inches ice on their roof. And they started leaking, all that weight caused leaks to happen. So schools were closed for some time. I don't know how long they were, but I suspect a week or two.
Yeah.
But when at that age, I was 7 years old, I was going to Main Street School. That's crossing the Springfield Baptist, where the center is now. And I remember the storm. I remember my school teacher in the first grade and all that. I remember all that, but I don't remember details of it. I had to look back at old newspapers and get the details, but it was the worst thing that ever hit here. So I compare everything to that storm, but everybody talks about, well, it hadn't been this bad since 94, or it hadn't been this bad since 64, or 80, 81, 82, 83, 84 had bad weather then, but 51 was rough.
To me, that sounds a lot more than what we've ever dealt with.
Yeah,
just like
it is.
We had the one here in 94, and my husband, Mark and I, we were talking about it. Our twins, we had moved here in 92, so the twins, it was just before they turned 4. And so they were, we only had the 2 at the time, but our power, I thought our power was out for 3 weeks. He says it was out for about 12 days. And then I was just messaging my brother. They had a huge ice storm up in West Kentucky in 2009, and they were without power for 15 days. And because now
sometimes
on the farm,
it's worse here than Nashville, or worse in Kentucky than here, but we try to make them all the same, and they're not.
But they're very different. And I remember with them, they had gas logs up at the main farmhouse. And so Ben's family, my brother's family, they all stayed at the main farmhouse through all this. And they made, they did puzzles and all the, this kind of thing. And it sounds like they had a pretty good time. I know they wanted to get back to their, home. But I think the National Guard came up to check on them, if I'm not mistaken. But it said the power poles snapped like dominoes all the way to the substation from the ice, is what he's telling me in a text. He says, so we got brand new power poles and power lines out of the deal. But I'm pretty sure that they came up that the guard came to check on them. But my brother, my dad, they had generators. They had it worked out. So, but
another thing people are talking about lately is frost quakes.
Oh, that's the big one. This is something Lee Marie messaged me because I'm the authority on everything local, because she's a Cali girl. She's from California. And so anything that comes up that's odd, she's like, what is this? Yeah. And I said, this is a new one on me, Lee Marie. This is a brand new one on me. I've never heard of a frost quake. And I'm 63 years old. And
people lived in Indiana, Illinois,
never heard
Michigan,
Mark had
they know
it.
about it. They know about it. But
so what happens with a frost quake?
You got your dirt ground out here, and under there you got a water table where the water stays,
right.
And then you have bedrock under there. And when it freezes, really, we've had a lot of rain, and when it freezes real quickly, it traps all of that down there, and that water freezes, which expands when it freezes, causing the rocks to crack. And it's like, I think everybody, probably most people have heard of it, they didn't know what it was. They thought a tree was falling or broken.
Right.
Because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like a tree hitting the ground. And everybody looks out and they don't see a tree. So, well, what was that? That was this frost quake thing. And with the situations we have right now in this cold weather, you're going to hear them. A guy contacted me early this morning and said, I heard my first one.
I guess Mark and I have heard them, and we didn't realize. But we thought we've got that big.
You got so many
livestock.
trees around your house,
Well,
that's why.
and we've got that big livestock barn that ice will come off of it, and it'll make a crash. Of course, it hasn't been warm enough for ice to come off that barn, and so we've heard what we thought was ice coming off the barns, and thought that's what we were hearing. But that's one thing too, because we do have a lot of woodlands around us. And in '94, I'll never forget lying in bed listening to the trees break. You know,
that's
all night. It was like, what in the world is going on? But that was a bizarre feeling.
I think I'm glad this came up, because everybody's going to be educated now about.
Yeah, we know what a frost quake is. So, well, we're talking with Bill Jones about all things storm related, weather related. I was watching his post as we were getting close to the storm, because it was one of those things as it came in, we just really didn't know how it was going to manifest. I mean, even through it.
I was hoping it wouldn't get really less than what they were forecasting, because we're so used to hearing wild forecast, and it doesn't happen, and no one pays any attention to forecast anymore. So this one was pretty well on, even though the forecast was very difficult to do. It's a complicated storm. And another one coming up this weekend is complicated too, but the forecasts are all over the place. Not that somebody didn't know what they're talking about. You don't know exactly what's going to happen.
So you said coming up, I mean, we look at
Friday and Saturday.
We don't have any more snow coming in, do we?
Well, they're calling that, but I don't think so. From what I see, I don't believe it. But, you know, you have to be careful what you listen to and take some of it with a grain of salt, because some of them are trying to make a stand, you know, where they look like they know what they're talking about.
Right.
But
trying
most
to
of them
impress
pretty
everybody.
accurate. Yeah. Most of your TV stations are right on. They're in sync with the Weather Service, and they have the models like the Weather Service does and all that. So they're pretty well, but they fight to be the first to announce, you know.
Oh, I remember those days.
You know, I don't trust anything over 48 hours.
I got you. And well, it's just like as I was talking to the Mr. Mayor Corbitt up in the White House just a few minutes ago. He was like, well, we're looking forward to some warmer temperatures. And I'm like, I don't know what forecast you're looking at, but I'm not seeing it. I mean,
warmer temperatures when?
Coming in through here.
Oh, the next day.
Stuff.
Well, you're talking about in the 30s.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not really enough, because yesterday was really about the warmest we saw, and I really expected it to start knocking some of the ice off the trees, and I didn't see it happening.
Tomorrow I see a forecast of about 34 as a high.
Okay, so maybe, but if we don't
that's the
have
highest
any
I see for the week.
Yeah, that's same here. And when we start looking ahead to next week, I start seeing snow showers coming back in.
Well,
you know,
maybe
so,
way off. You know.
Yeah, I know.
A 7-day forecast can't be very accurate.
Right.
It's just a educated guess.
Right.
But this cold, there was a big cold front that came down from Canada, and there's a storm down the Gulf. They're running into each other, and they're going east. We thought first that we might get some activity from that, because it might come on straight down, but I don't think so. It's going on East Coast is going to have a lot of cold weather and snow, but maybe East Tennessee might catch a little bit, but we won't.
Okay.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so,
well,
but who am I? You know?
Well, you know, and I'll tell you, I know everybody, the kids are like, no school and all this kind. My husband and I are already thinking about, well, can we get into the school and get something done? We don't function well without a schedule. We just, my husband.
Oh, I know it. It's terrible.
Being able to get up and do radio is the greatest blessing ever during this for me, because I do not function well without a schedule. I gain weight.
I don't either.
I get lazy, and I don't like it, and I don't like how it feels. So I need a schedule. So as much as we're like, yes, snow days, I'll be ready to get back to school here in a day or two and get back on schedule. You know,
We're
'cause I
looking
just function
though
better.
Friday night going down to 1 degree. So Saturday's going to be cold.
Yeah, it's going to be so cold. And,
Then
my-
the wind picks up. That's going to make it so hard.
See,
The
that's-
10 to 15 mile per hour wind for 2 or 3 days there. And
I'm afraid that's going to break these trees if we don't get the ice off the trees.
well, I don't think the ice is going to come off.
That's what I'm concerned about
cold.
because there's so much weight on our trees.
Yeah.
And those of us who haven't already lost, trees, if that ice doesn't come off those trees and that wind picks up, we could have some more damage and more power lines down.
We got
Things like
wind
that.
coming in Saturday, Sunday, and probably going down Monday.
Okay.
But that wind and the cold temperature is going to be rough.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can get some. I don't know. Let's just
Even
pray
Florida's
some-
getting cold then.
I know. Let's just pray some heat in
They
here,
don't
some
even have
sunshine
they
in
don't
here.
even have furnaces down there.
Yeah, for sure. I know. I can't even imagine. And well, it's just like I was talking with my friend that power is out. She lives up on the ridge, but she's an NES customer, and I said, well, you can borrow our generator, but you have to maintain a generator. You have to. She couldn't. I said, you can't. Just turn it on, and leave it. And I said, you have to put gas in them. You have to change the oil. I said, they're a pain to manage. It's better than not having power, but you got to know what you're doing to.
Well, that's what I
manage a
wondered when they giving generators away.
When
do
you
people
said
know
that-
how to use them?
There you go.
They think they can just plug it in the wall at the house
No.
and run the house on it. Doesn't work that way.
No, and there are ways too. That's one thing we have, we talk about our son that's an electrical engineer, and he has told us that you can just plug your entire house into a generator, and he knows how to do it. And we're like, you really need to come down and show us how to do that. And
Need an
get it
electrician to
set
make
up.
a little transfer box.
Yeah. Well, and he can do it. And so that's one thing I think that's going to be a task for my son next time he's home is to get it set up to where we could just plug the house in.
Sure don't want that generator electricity going into the CEMC lines or vice versa going into your generator. So you have to have a switch over.
Yeah.
And no, I know some people that's got the generators. Mine's got 3 or 4 hookups on it where you can plug in AC on
Right.
them. But what they'll do, they'll run the generator outside and they'll run two extension cords through 2 different bedrooms or a living room, bedroom, where they have heaters plugged in. So they'll have 2 rooms that they can have some heat, and that's all they'll have with a generator. But it runs out there. You got to keep it away from the house because you'll get all those fumes and stuff.
Yeah, that's just
Can't
it.
put them in the garage.
No, you'll get.
You
I
know?
mean, the carbon monoxide poisoning goes up.
That is a big problem right now.
Yeah, and they're at the hospitals in Nashville. I had heard, and I don't have the numbers on this. If somebody does, you can put it up in comments.
So it has no
They've
odor.
had- Yeah, and they've had a problem with more folks coming in and having the.
I had 20 come in last night.
That's incredible. You got to be careful with those things, and that's one thing that I think people just do not remember. But they've had an increase in those calls, and with all these generators being handed out to folks who don't know what to do with them, that could be a problem. So I hope they're handing them a carbon monoxide detector, or at least telling them to keep it outside.
Well, they're selling fast right now, a carbon
yeah.
monoxide detector.
But
But
a couple of notes that Lee Marie, and before I forget, Lee Marie, the men's dinner at Cedar Hill Baptist Church has been postponed. They had the Friday night men's dinner coming up at Cedar Hill Baptist. I don't know if that was the wild game dinner or not, but that big dinner at Cedar Hill that's supposed to be, I'm thinking, on this Friday night has been postponed. So she says, and they're not going to have the Go Show today. Lee Marie cannot get out. She is up on Hood's Branch, and it is just a hot mess up there. Super, super slick. So she's not going to try to come in and do the show. But if you have any calendar changes, she says, for anything going on that would normally be on the Go Show, you can send her a message through her Facebook page, and she'll put stuff out with social media. So, but the one thing we do know is this Friday's men's dinner at Cedar Hill Baptist Church has been postponed 1 week. Paul Rainey had to chime in too. He says in 51, he was only 1, so he doesn't remember that storm, Bill.
everybody tells me that, but they actually were older.
Yeah,
want to
no,
admit it.
I can attest to the fact that Paul's not that old, but he is, he was fireman for 41 years up in Nashville, so he's seen it all. And I mean, their son Kobe actually had a truck that tipped over on him, he's a fireman now.
Well, I
And
tell you
those,
what,
I'm telling you, we appreciate the Rainey family. My goodness, they have
there's not
served a
any
long time.
experience like dressed out in all your bunkers as a fireman. That's heavy stuff, heavy boots, helmet and everything.
Can't even
It's going to
imagine.
wear you out just walking around.
Yeah.
They say, well, they just see him walking around in no hurry. Well, you can't do a whole lot.
Can't imagine
Then
walking
you put
around
an
that
air
stuff.
tank on your back, and you've got some weight on you. And
How much does that equipment weigh? I wonder.
Oh,
Paul can answer that for us.
I don't remember, but
Yeah.
say you got that tank on, you're going in there running around trying to find somebody and stuff. You might have to crawl and all that. We were down on the interstate one time years ago, and there was a chemical spill. So we put suits on, these white suits, all over you, covering your air pack too. And then you got a face mask, and the little air pack would go ding, 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 ding when it's running out of air.
Uh-huh.
And we get in there, there's a couple of us, and the other guy started going off. Scared him to death. It's the first time he'd ever done that.
Oh, gee.
He thought it was going out now, and it takes a while to get out of that suit.
Right.
And he was panicking because you had about another 10 minutes or something there, after it dings, but that was, I'll
So-
never forget that.
So you need to elaborate on this. I don't know. You were a fireman?
Yeah.
When were you a fireman, Bill? I don't think I've ever been
You
told
remember
this
Fred
story.
Schott?
Do what now?
You remember Fred Schott?
Sounds
Fred-
familiar, but
So we used to have civil defense. And
okay.
civil defense handle everything from ambulance runs to fires or whatever out in the
So you were
wreck.
part of civil defense.
Well, that's where the county fire department began, from the civil
oh, my
defense.
goodness.
And they got a little building at the fairgrounds. That's a little brick building down there. It's got 2 bays in it, and the county paid for it, furnished it,
Okay.
And so we had 2 trucks in there, and we had a radio, and out in the county were volunteers. They would have to run from their home to the fire truck to go wherever they wanted to go, and we didn't have. Well, at the beginning, we didn't have any communications except in the truck. Then they got pagers. We had pagers, and we'd wear the pagers, and they'd page us out and give instructions where to go, and we would go in our car to the fire. Then they got 2-way radios after that. So anyway, that's
I had no idea you had ever worked as. And so basically, you were with civil defense, and you were a volunteer fireman then.
I wasn't
Was
with
it-
civil defense. I'm just talking about how it got started. how the
Oh,
volunteer fire
okay.
department-
But then how did you end up putting on fire gear? Were you a volunteer fireman?
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, the dog. I had no idea. I learn new
Oh.
things about you all the time.
Let me tell you
brother.
about one incident. This,
no.
this is on me.
I love your stories.
Paul's going to laugh at this.
Okay.
But
All
it's,
right, Paul,
it's
you
something
listening?
stupid I did. But I remember I was coming out my driveway. I get the page, and I had a big Chevrolet truck that I carried my bunkers in and everything, So it was out at 49 out in the Llewellyn community. So here I take off, and I get there first. And the fire truck comes with one guy. That's all. It was only had one guy at the main station. See, his name was Worsham, and he gets there, and I said, "Tom, start the pump on the truck. I'll take the hose and go in." It was a basement house, and there was smoke just coming out everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so I take the hose. It's got 110 pounds of pressure. It seemed like I remember 120, something like that. And I kick in the front door, and the smoke, you couldn't see anything. And I was, laying the water to it. I was spraying everything in there, and I could see a hall down there where the bedrooms were in this big room I was in. And I was going down there. I couldn't see any fire. I just kept.
You're just putting water on
Until
everything.
I saw a little redness over in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And after I got rid of the smoke out of there, it was a pan that was on fire on the stove, and the people had gone to work and left it.
So you're soaking everything
So
down, and it's
they
a
get
pan.
there, and I say, "Well, I put your fire out."
Oh my goodness!
Oh man, it ruined that house.
Oh,
I
bless.
was hitting furniture. I could tell when I was hitting chairs and tables with that hose, because there's a lot of pressure on it.
Did you break a few
That was
things, Bill?
embarrassing. I don't tell that a lot. So
Oh, that's so
I'm
funny.
sure
though.
Paul was grinning.
That is so funny. Well, he chimed in. He said that the weight of the gear at 60 pounds, about
That
60
sounds right.
pounds.
Yeah.
And he said, now when
And the
he
tank.
first started, that probably when you were a volunteer, the tanks were steel.
Yeah,
and they were even heavier. But right now they use aluminum tanks, so it's about 60 pounds.
Yeah, we didn't have aluminum.
Woo, man, that is some weight. I cannot imagine. Oh my gosh, that is a lot. But anyway, that's what your first responders are dealing with. Your firemen.
I'll tell you another story.
So okay, Bill.
I was out on a house fire out in the country, and we had pretty well contained. But I was standing there with my bunkers on. Of course, you can't tell who you are because you're all covered up and everything. And there were some little puppies there, and they belonged to whoever was in the house, and they weren't very old. And this guy comes up, I think he was a neighbor, and he kicked the puppies. It made me mad. I turned around and kicked him. And I had these, steel-toed boots on. He didn't know who I was.
You're like,
I wasn't going to tell him. I said, you do that again, I'm going to kick you again.
Oh, my gosh. But anyway, bless your heart. That's funny. I love it.
One time, the truck went out and turned over. He just, boom.
The fire truck?
Yeah, the fire truck. He just turned too quick, and it went over. And we've turned them over. I remember somebody turned one over in a country road that had a sharp curve. He made it too quick, and it turned the whole tank of, truck full of water over.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can imagine.
It was out there. We had to carry our own water. Usually you didn't have any. You didn't run into fire.
You figure that's one of the things when it comes to insurance and different things like that. If you don't have a place, I don't have a fire hydrant at my house. If you came in to, put a fire out.
Probably one close by.
Probably at the plant, I guess.
Well,
that would be the closest.
I bet you do. They'll far, close enough you can go fill up a truck real quick.
But and you also too. Can you not draw water like out of the creek in my front yard? Can you not pump it out?
You can if you got the right equipment. But, and the county used to do that. They'd have to have
a pumper truck, I guess.
I know. I went to one fire, a friend of mine's house, and there was a pond, and we drew water out of the pond onto the house, but it burned.
But anyway, that's one of the things about living out in the country that you have to accept. That is, if you have a fire, they're going to.
Some dangerous things. Like one house I remember we put out, but there's all these chemicals under the house. They stored under the house. We didn't know it was there.
Oh, dear.
Until after we put the fire out, and we see the chemicals. I go, golly, it could have blown up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something. But we're talking with Bill Jones, all things weather related, of course. We started out with a phone call from City Mayor of White House. If you missed that, you can go back and listen to it. Yesterday, we talked with Ryan Martin. We talked with Dr. Danny Weeks. We had a conversation with Blake Pierce, our Director of Emergency Management here in Robeson County. And we have, honestly, we're doing okay in Robeson County. We still have some power outages. What are the numbers there again as far as the numbers that they had, like about 300 still in Robertson that were
370 out? Still without power.
Without power in Robeson.
As of 5:30 last night.
Right. So here in Robeson County, we're doing okay. If you start looking into Nashville proper, you get over in Sumner County, the numbers are in thousands still, and especially down in Nashville. I was talking about my friend who is up on the ridge, NES customer, and the thing is, where she lives, there's not many houses, so hers won't be one of the first that they'll get to. They'll get to the higher numbers. But Franklin, they've got tons of power outages. I mean, you start looking in some of the areas south of us.
Well, eastern Robeson County was hit worse than we were.
Yeah, for sure.
White House.
So there's just an awful lot to be thankful for here in Robeson County, that we're kind of getting back to as normal as we can much more quickly in some of the surrounding areas. My friend, we were talking about Watt Harrison down in Pickwick, and you knew him.
Yeah.
He's just an extraordinary radio engineer. Extraordinary. And his daughter lives in Greenbrier. And so I just was really worried about them because, I mean, they were locked in because there were trees down. They couldn't get out. There's a tree across this truck, and they got them out, and so they're fine now. So they've gotten to where they can get some warmth and those kinds of things. But there's some folks that are in a hot mess, y'all, because of this, and we just need to be praying. And if you have, just pray for God to give you opportunities to serve somebody and what you can do, what that looks like. And, God will make those times, those opportunities, out there. And just pray for some warmer weather because, I mean, it's not looking real awesome. I was with Dr. Weeks yesterday, just a real quick overview of what the snow days look like. We get 10 every year. And he had mentioned in a previous interview that I'd had with him that we extend the day and that's how we bank our snow days. And I had that a little confused. I was thinking that we could extend the day and work off some of these if we do too many. And he says, no, we're already extending our day. And that's how you build your bank of snow day. You build your bank of days that you can work with. So you have 180 days that the state says kids have to go to school and that we are contracted as teachers to work. Yeah. And so he says, when we have used up those bank days, again, that we've already earned through going a little bit extra, we have 10. Well, we used 2 for the election. We had, because we had the special election, where Representative Green stepped down. And so then we're using 5 this week because they've already announced school is out for the entirety of the week. So that's 7. So that leaves us 3. And I think we're going to be hard pressed not to use those 3 next week.
Yeah, I just wonder how long school's going to be out.
I'm curious. And one thing he did say is that sometimes whenever you see something that's so statewide, the state will waive some days. And so he's hoping that maybe if we, and again, you don't want to say we're going to, but it's going to be really hard for us not to use all of our days this year. But he is hoping that might be the case, that the state may come in and waive a few days for us to where we won't have to make them up. Because if we have to make them up, there's all kinds of creative ways they can do it. We can do Saturday work for the kids. We can have assignments that they do, and we call Saturday a school day that they do remotely. He said there's a scenario for that. He said there's also a scenario for, taking and going to school later. He goes, you don't want to take spring break because too many people have too many things booked and things like that. And so you try not to have to add days, but you might have some Saturdays that would be actual school days, but maybe on a remote, contingency or something like that you can do, because we all have laptops now and they can do school from home. So he painted a couple of scenarios, but I think the one thing that everybody is hoping is that the state will waive some days. And sometimes you have to when things happen like this. So maybe we'll get that. But here's the thing, Bill. We've still got to get through February and March.
Right.
So what in the world?
It doesn't look good next week.
No, it doesn't look really good next week. And, of course, then that may be the last we see of Old Man Winter, and we'll just slide on into spring.
Never know.
And I think we'll all be ready for it by then and not wanting any more snow days. But I do know sometimes February is much worse than woof. And, even into March, you can have snow.
Our local road department, they're responsible for county roads, but not state roads. So the state is supposed to take care of the state roads, so they don't cross any at all. But Governor Lee came out, I saw on the news this morning, with an order for the state trucks to also do county roads.
Oh, good.
So we only have 2 road graders in Robinson County, so
that's a blessing.
Would open up a door to get more done. But these trucks with a scoop on the front, if it's ice, they can't do it. They scoop snow, but they don't scoop ice very well. Mm-hmm. So they got 2 of those trucks, and for the county, it's 650 miles that are in Robinson County of roads.
Wow.
So everybody wants theirs done, but if it's solid ice, not much you can do.
I was stunned that Lawrence Lane hasn't been cleared because it comes down to the wastewater plant. And with it being a public utility, typically Lawrence Lane is one of the first, and that's one of the, blessings of being next to a public utility is usually you get attention on your roads a little bit quicker, but that's just it's very clear just how bad it is. So, that is good if some of the state vehicles will come out and start clearing some of these county roads. That would be
Electric got 600 people working. Linemen and stuff,
Wow.
And that, of course, that's Montgomery County and
sure,
Sumner County and us. So they're working like crazy.
They're working like crazy. We saw a bunch of them congregating on Monday, getting together.
Depot gave them a free meal.
I know Depot's been feeding. Larry's Restaurant's been feeding them.
That's really something.
Those are the 2 main ones that I've heard of, are Depot and Larry's.
Larry's done that before.
Oh, Larry, they're always out. When we came through on Monday morning and I saw their parking lot cleared, I knew they were up to something. I thought they're getting ready to feed some folks.
Yeah.
And because, they already had it cleared and they were getting ready. And then I saw where Depot came in and did something too. And I know there's plenty more. If you know of a list, we'll mention them, guys, if you want to throw them up in comments. We need to talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. And I'll tell you one thing too, I am going to go, the UPS store is one of our sponsors too. And it looks like they're opened. I saw on their social media yesterday that they were open, but just definitely check their hours first and make sure. I will probably be swinging by there today and checking on them. But we'll do their ad tomorrow after I go by and talk to them today. But it says on their page, it's saying that they're open normal hours. So we will see. It says, it's saying, I've just got an update from them. They're going to open today from 9 to 4. So today from 9 to 4. Today from 9 to 4. They're not open right now, but that's news from the UPS store. So we'll start there, but I'll go by there and get an update from them about their hours for the rest of the week. So UPS store, if you got things that have got to get back to Amazon before the cutoff date, well, guess what? They're going to open up today from 9 to 4. So you can go by and do that. And you can also go by and get your print stuff done. You can get some things done with if you've got some shipping that needs to go out, if you need something notarized, they can take care of it. Whatever you need, there's so much more than your UPS store. They're your everything store, but they're opening today from 9 to 4. So good news there. But we're going to talk right now about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. Great time while you've got some time to sit down and really talk about what you want to do, whether it be buying, selling, or if you want to be a realtor. If you're trying to make some decisions, just my husband and I, we're sitting down and talking about curriculum because that's our world right now. We talk about our school curriculum. Well, I want to do this and I want to do that. Now I've got time. I can do this new presentation. I can do all these. This is a time of kind of sitting down and kind of reorganizing things and maybe getting ahead of some things. And so if something to do with real estate, if you've been thinking about it, now's a really good time to sit with your family and say, do we want to move? Now's a good time to sit and talk to your family about, or maybe we're in an apartment and we want to buy. Do we have the opportunity to buy? How much home can we afford? Do we want to live here? Do we want to live there? Where do we want to buy property? Or maybe you're wanting to sell property. What is that property worth? You can reach out to Barry and Rebecca, and they can do a free market analysis for you and tell you exactly what your property is worth or what the properties in the area have been selling for, so you have a greater a better example of what you can possibly get for your property, because that's one of the worst things you can do is put your property up. I've seen some properties where they've got them listed and they're listed forever because their price is it's unrealistic. It may be worth that to you, but if it's not worth it to the market, you're going to just sit there with property for sale for a very long time, and I don't know, maybe you'll get it eventually, but odds are you should start with a free market analysis from Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. See what the property has reasonable expectations of being able to bring on the market, and then set your price accordingly. Now, when it comes to purchasing property, don't even put your toe in the water until you know what you qualify for, because otherwise you're just wasting your time. You need to know how much home that you can afford, how much you qualify for, and then you start from there. If you want to be a realtor, talk to people who've been in the industry. Talk to people who've came out of other industries and gone into real estate like Barry and Rebecca have. They both have had that scenario, and they can talk to you about the ins and outs of all of that. They are experts at what they do. Rebecca's a realtor up in White House. Barry is a broker here in Springfield. They combined those two offices to bring you a new branch in the Exit Tree about 3 years ago, and they are Exit Prime Realty. If you want to connect with them, they are in Robertson County and Cross Plains, have been there for 30 years. So they're Robertson County is just like the rest of us. So they specialize in Robertson County properties, but they also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. They still have a broker up in White House that Rebecca works with that can broker deals in Kentucky. The laws have changed, and not every broker can broker deals in Kentucky any longer, so you need to make sure you know that if that's something that you're looking at. So reach out to them today, sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy, B-U-Y, robertsoncounty.com, or you can call them at 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425, or 7424. And when you talk to them, please let them know U-Turn sent you. Talking with our friend, our weatherman, our historian, our storyteller, Bill Jones is in the house.
Volunteer fireman.
Volunteer fireman. I did not know that about him. Found that out today. That blew my mind. It's when you start talking about putting that gear on, I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Well, you ought to try it sometime. And you go down there and let them just put some on.
Oh, my goodness.
Just like walking around like, oh.
I can't imagine.
You weigh 300 pounds.
I can't imagine. 60 pounds. That's something. We got that word from Paul Rainey. He said that because he was a fireman for 41 years, and he said the weight of that gear is 60 pounds. And there's a couple of other things we were asking about whether or not you can pump, like you could pump water from my creek, and he says any engine can pump out of a groundwater source, so they could actually pump water out of my creek now. And he said he worked on a ladder truck uptown that made a call, and they pulled out without the tiller on the back. We were going, let's see, hang on a second here. They pulled out without the tiller on the back. We were going down the road, hitting cars parked on the side of the road on both sides. Without the tiller on the back. What does that mean, Paul? I don't know what a tiller, or a tilter or a tiller. He says a tiller on the back, but they had something on the back and they were hitting cars on both sides of the road.
That is.
Oh my word, Paul. But I can't imagine. Oh my goodness. Maybe they didn't take the thing off the back. They were supposed to take off the back or something. I guess that's what he's talking about. Ooh, can you imagine? How many cars did y'all damage? I guess y'all would all, I guess anybody that's worked in that capacity would have some kind of story where you're like, I can't believe we just did that.
I
can't believe we just
got
did
more
that.
I don't want to tell.
I hear that. Well, don't we all have stories that we don't want to tell? But we're talking about the weather situation, the school situation. Talked a little bit about that. I talked with Dr. Danny Weeks yesterday, our director of schools. And again, we're hoping that the state will waive some of our schools or some of our school days that we're going to miss because we are going to exceed our snow calendar. I just can't even imagine that we will not use all those snow days. I mean, maybe they'll get us back to school next week. I don't see it happening, but it could happen. It's got to warm up, and those roads have got to get a whole lot better. But we are officially out of school for the entirety of this week, and next week is up in the air depending on whether or not things warm up. And Dr. Weeks talked about some of the school scenarios that we'll have to look at depending on how many school days we miss. And then we've got the roadways and we've got power outages. Looking at the power outages here in Robertson County, just to kind of reiterate, we're in good shape with only 300. And now, if you're one of the 370 that still doesn't have power, God bless you. That's a hard thing. But there's 370 in Robertson County without power. Cheatham only has 2. Sumner County, and this is from CEMC. This is our Cumberland Electric guys. In Sumner, they've got 6,855 without power. And the numbers, when you start looking at what NES is dealing with in Nashville, I think my friend was telling me last night, because she's watching it closely, because she's been without power since Sunday. And she said last night it was about 130,000 still without power in Nashville. So,
well, I was talking to a friend of mine last night.
Hurting right now.
We have a ham radio net. We meet with weather stuff. And I was talking to this friend of mine, and he's a sheriff deputy, Paul Sugg, and he's been out since the beginning. I still don't. He said we hadn't had a bath in 2 or 3 days. He said we're going to have to go to the sheriff's office to get a bath.
Oh, bless.
But it's people, and he's got a camper. And he's got a generator on it, so they use that generator for cooking.
So they do have source.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: you can also go up to your truck stops and grab a shower. You can do that.
I have a on-demand water heater.
We do
doesn't
too.
have a tank. Well, it runs on electricity. So
right, you plug that in.
I told my wife if it goes out and we want to take a bath, I just have to plug my generator into the water heater. Yeah, we got hot water.
Yeah.
So I'm glad for that.
Do you have electric or gas water?
Electric.
Oh, so it will still work. Oh, because ours, we have a endless water. We have the same thing, but it's gas. Yeah. And we have so much. I mean, we have a lot of gas appliances. I really like them a lot. We have a gas fireplace, gas stove. We have a gas dryer, a gas clothes dryer. So, and they work really, really well. So, all right, folks, we got about 5 minutes. What else do we need to cover?
Okay, let's just quickly go over the forecast for this weekend. Friday is going to be the start of a big day. The high is only 24, but the wind's going to be 10 to 15 miles per hour. That's going to be, I don't know what the feel-like temperature is. Friday night goes down to 1 degree. Oof. And still wind at 10 miles per hour during the night. And then Sunday, comes up a high of 17.
Ugh.
So, and that's still wind is 10 to 15 with a gust of 20 miles an hour. So going into Monday, high Monday is only 32, but that feels great for us when something gets to 32. And Tuesday, the high is 37. So we're in for a rough weekend. And so a lot of people up north, East Coast, good night. I wouldn't want to live up there. It's just awful. But anyway, that and Cumberland Electric just about on top of it, finished 600 people working, 370 still out in Robinson County, which they're, some of these people that are out is a big deal to get back. They got poles snapped off. I remember the last one we had, there was a pole in the middle of water, and CEMC had to go out in the water and replace the pole. And of course, the water's not normally there, but it was rain had accumulated.
Oh, what a mess. That was the big storm that my brothers and his family with my mom and dad went through. They had the power poles were snapped.
Yeah.
I mean, just one right after another. And so, go ahead.
One other thing I wanted to mention, I think everybody should have a weather app on their phone. They should have.
Right.
And some of them are not any good. Some of them, you look at it and go, that can't be right,
Yeah.
But let me suggest you ones that I think are really good. I use one called Radar Scope. It's on my cell phone.
Right.
Costs $10 a year. That's just
Nothing. Yeah.
And it's really good. You can get $100 a year one, and of Radar Scope, and it's got more than you'd want because it was for professional weather people. Then there's WeatherWise. It's another one, and they have a free one on that. There's a guy on YouTube called Ryan Hall Uall. He's a meteorologist, and he promotes this WeatherWise, and it's really a lot of.
Okay.
And you can get a WeatherWise Plus, or pay some money and get more to it, but that is also a freebie. AccuWeather is another one that a lot of people have. I don't think it costs anything either, but they have a upgrade. NOAA Radar, NOAA Radar is free. It's an app you get on your cell phone. So all of those are really good, but I really like that Radar Scope is what I use.
I have Radar Scope, but my thing is I don't seem to get any radar except what's right in our area.
We can change it.
How do you do that? I couldn't figure it out. I'm going to have him teach me some technology because I was trying to get it to where I could see everything.
Hone it in on anywhere you want to.
Okay.
On there. So I look at my daughters out in California.
Yeah.
So.
Because I couldn't get it. I couldn't figure out how to make it work with anything because I just.
Well, you can widen it out, with your fingers, but still you're not pinpointing it someplace. So.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
And then, people who are younger than I am talk about the worst storm in 1984 or 1994 or something, and there's nothing that tops that 1951 storm.
Right, from the sounds of it.
It's rained, sleeted, and snowed for 10 days. It was minus 13.
Wow.
So
it was a hot mess.
Top that.
I've heard you mention that storm before. I've heard you mention that storm before.
It's a beauty of a storm, as far as I'm concerned. And then the one before that was a biggie, was like 1899 or something like that. But it's just, and again, it depends on, like, we talk about damage of tornadoes have increased. I don't think the number of tornadoes have increased. It's all the housing coming in, everything that's got more damage.
Right, you've
so
got more
really
people
the same
there
amount of tornadoes.
Damage, yeah.
Yeah, it's just.
So, well, thank you, Bill. I appreciate you coming in. I tell you, today's only Wednesday, isn't it? Okay, I can't keep track of the days. I keep thinking it's Thursday. I've got to get on a schedule, but today's Wednesday, so I don't know that we'll have United Way in tomorrow or not. I'll have to touch base with Brian Pooley, and otherwise the schedule's up in the air, so we'll just have to see what. Oh, I know. We're going to call. Normally, the Veterans Service Office would have been in today. And Scott was planning on coming in, and I had already booked some other things. I said, with the weather, I never dreamed he'd come in because he's up in Sumner County. So we are going to have a phone call with our Veteran Service Office since we missed talking to them today. So we will touch base with them tomorrow and possibly with United Way because I think they'll have an update for us. And then, of course, we'll have a Faith Friday session on Friday. So hope you'll stick around with us. We're going to keep doing radio because you know what? It gets me out of the house. Come on, let's be real. All right, guys, this is 1100 WSGI. Thank you for joining us. God bless you. Stay safe, stay warm. Have a wonderful day.